Hi, it's me, Jazzy. I'm back with another tech-related video, and today I've been sent something by Banggood to take a look at. So thank you very much, Banggood, for sending this over. I will leave links and coupon codes in the description down below, so you can go check out some of the great deals over at Banggood for yourself. Plus, the Banggood Double 11 sale is on now with savings across the site. Check it out in the link below. So what we've got in this rather nondescript brown box is the Tooltop OS-5C, which is a 5-channel tablet-style oscilloscope. Sounds very promising. Let's get it over on the bench and take a closer look. Right, so a 5-channel tablet-style oscilloscope. This is the Tooltop OS-5C. So let's have a look. What do we get in the box? Okay, oh wow! Right, so we've got 5 oscilloscope probes, and these are full-size BNCs, look. Normally on these little tablet-style oscilloscopes, you get those mini BNC connectors. These are full-size BNCs, and you get 5 probes with it. Nice, and there's the instructions. All right. This must be the oscilloscope in here. So we've got cable here, USB A to C, and that's the instructions for the oscilloscope itself. I think that's the instructions just for the probes there, and that's the oscilloscope user's manual. Okay, and here's the scope itself. Very nice. Right, please note before use, remove the battery insulator on the back of the machine. Let's have a look. Oh, I see the pole. Now that's good though. I like the fact they've made that so big, so you're not going to miss that, because that's an easy thing to miss. So yeah, very nice looking unit. And we've got our 5 full-size BNCs on the top there. Now that's nice to see, isn't it? I don't think I've seen many, if any, tablet oscilloscopes with full-size BNCs at this price point. I think this is around the £60 mark on Banggood right now. And for a 5-channel oscilloscope, it's only 1 megahertz bandwidth, but that's fine for audio work and stuff. So let's have a look. The manual's pretty minimal. It does give some specifications there, so if you want to freeze frame that, you can take a better look at the specs. What's inside? Massive QR code. Software download. So I think, yeah, you can hook this up to your PC. There's obviously some software that you can get, so we'll download that and give that a try. So not a massive amount of instructions, but I wonder if when you go to the software download, maybe there's a full manual. I think I'll go check that out. Okay, so we've got a little stand on the back there. Let's pull that tab out. So does that stand? Yeah. Not bad. All right. And there we go. We straight away got our 5 channels running. One thing I will say about the Tooltop, it feels really solid. Sometimes with these tablet oscilloscopes, they can be a little bit creaky, plasticky, but this actually feels quite robust, like it's going to last. What we have got here is we've got a 4.3 inch IPS display with a resolution of 480 by 272. We've obviously got 5 channels, has a bandwidth of 1 megahertz, but that's okay for little bits and bobs and audio work. It's an advantage having the 5 channels, which we're going to test out in a minute, because we've got 5 probes with this scope. There is another version of this which has Wi-Fi if you're someone that wants Wi-Fi on your scope. This one doesn't, so we haven't got to worry about that. Maximum peak-to-peak voltage on this is 20 volts or 200 volts with ×10 probes. So if we go into the menu here, it does actually have some sort of screen protector on it, which I'm actually going to leave on there because it's quite pleasingly matte. And what I do suffer sometimes when I'm making videos here is reflection off the screen of the device. So for the purpose of making this video, I'm going to leave the screen protector on. So if we go into vertical position adjustment, you can adjust the vertical position for all 5 channels. So you can lay them out so that you can see them if you want to compare waveforms from different sources. So the bottom button goes back and you've got all these cursor keys here to access the menus. It's not a touch screen, this one, so you have to use the buttons. So it's nice that they've given you the arrows. So we'll see how this works out. So on the trigger settings menu, the up and down arrows change your trigger point, or you've got F3 for auto, and F2 changes the trigger from leading edge to trailing edge. So we can have a look at the data show menu, and that gives you options of all the stuff you want shown on the screen. So you can turn some of it off if you don't want your screen too cluttered, or you can choose what you want if you want like some of the most useful things. So if you want, for example, voltage peak to peak displayed, you can just go down and select that, which I probably will. So then we can come back out of that menu, and then we've got our system settings menu. If we go in there, so you can select XY mode or your waveform display, so you can change that. You can set the automatic shutdown, so you can have it shut down in 5 minutes, 10 minutes or 30 minutes, or turn that off. I'm going to turn that off for the purpose of this video. Language you can change there. You've got your interface diagram here. So you've got your interface diagram there. That literally just shows you a picture of where all the buttons are. And you've got about the product. If you go in there, that gives you your version number and stuff. So you can have a look at that. So F1 does run and stop. And then F2 shows your X markers, F3 shows your Y markers, and F4 does your field of view. So let's hook up a probe, shall we? So it's nice that they give you 5 oscilloscope probes, and just nice standard probe, times 1 or times 10. Start off on times 1, 100 megahertz, times 10, times 1. So you've got your probe compensation is there on these. So let's have a go. Let's hook it up to channel 1. We have got a test point rather conveniently down there. That's very handy, so we can do our probe compensation. That's it, that's on. Right, so if we go to run, hey, there we go, square wave straight away. Nice. Okay, I like that. Pressing either of these arrows goes into adjust your time base, and then up and down will adjust your volts per division. We're on 1 volt per division at the moment, but you can change that and take that down or up, whatever you want to have it on. It's going to expand the time base out a bit. It's a shame that the time base menu comes up over the waveform that you're trying to adjust. So it's that one. There we go. Right. I do quite like the nice big screen though. That's quite good. Let's put some signals in from the waveform generator and see how we go. We're obviously on channel 1 at the moment. Let's do a 1 kilohertz sine wave, shall we? 3 volts. That's okay, isn't it? That looks all right. And then we can, of course, adjust our volts per division by going here. And there you go. So you can do that as 2 volts. We could do 4 volts per division if you want. And of course, you can stop if you want to freeze frame. It's on auto trigger, but it's clearly not perfect. We could go to sawtooth. We've seen square wave, noise, triangle wave. That looks okay. It's only an 8-bit resolution, but it actually doesn't look too pixelated. It's not that noticeable. If I go to sine wave, that actually looks all right. You can hook up multiple channels, which is fantastic. I haven't seen very many handheld scopes with full-size BNCs like this. There we go. That's pretty cool, isn't it? And you can do that for up to 5 channels. Obviously, you wouldn't normally have them all monitoring the same thing, but you could. You could have them all monitoring various different things, couldn't you? Let's see if we can get all 5 going at once. Since they've given us 5 probes for this. If you had a device under test and you need to monitor lots of different things, you could do that, and you could have 5 different things running at once on here. They're still not triggering amazingly. And you go into your menu here. We can adjust these so they all set the same. There we go. just so it looks visually pleasing. Nothing scientific at all about this test. But yes, 5 channels running simultaneously, that is a thing that you can do. So you've got your vertical position adjustment here. So if you go in there, you can actually move, if you want to move these up and down to get them out of the way, look. So you could move that one up, depending on what you're looking at. If you're looking at different signals, you might find you've got some signals bigger than the others. So you can just move these around to suit what you want to do. Okay, so you will note I've got it plugged in now. Now it does claim a 3-hour battery life, but I will point out that in real life terms, I've had to charge this up more than any of the other handheld devices that I've used. So maybe it's a bit more power hungry, this one. So we've got our 5 channels running. We've seen we can get 5 signals at once. Brilliant. But if you don't want your screen cluttered up by having all 5 turned on, you can turn them off individually. So if you go into the vertical amplitude menu, you can turn each one off, or you can change the coupling from AC to DC for each channel. So we've got channel 5 selected there. So we can turn channel 5 off by pressing that. You see the green line has gone now. Then we can go across, do the same with channel 4. Channel 4 is the red. If we turn it off, that goes. Turn channel 3 off. Channel 2, let's just leave one channel on, and then back button, come out. We've only got one channel running now. The other thing I've gleaned is when you select your parameters, when you go into the menu here and you select your parameters that you want it to display, so I've selected frequency, voltage peak to peak and RMS, it will display them only in the stop position. So if my waveform is running, you've got no data on the screen, but as soon as you press stop, it will display the data down there. And as soon as you go to run, that disappears again. And there is a little reset button down there. So if you want to reset the device, you've got that down there. And obviously the vertical position adjustment, you can see if we wanted to center our channel there we go. And then we go back and back, and it's there. And it has turned on another channel for some bizarre reason. I'm not sure why. Okay, let's not worry about that. We can turn that off. Yeah, it's turned channel 2 on, but we'll just turn that off. Let's just have the one channel running, and we'll put a signal in. Let's compare it with one of my other scopes that I use on a regular basis. Of course, it's right to left, isn't it, on this? So channel 1 starts this end, not this end. One comment I will make, and it's not specific to this scope, but on a lot of products I'm seeing these days, having BNCs recessed in is not necessarily a great idea. I mean, it is a great idea because it stops them from getting damaged. But when you come to remove your BNC, it's just that little bit fiddly getting in there. I suppose that's just me moaning, but it does stop them from getting damaged. So I suppose ultimately it's a good thing. Okay, so I've got the Tooltop hooked up to my waveform generator here. And I'm also going to put the signal into this scope, which is one that I use on a regular basis. So I know it's pretty reasonable. Gives us a bit of a comparison. I always like to have a bit of a comparison. Signal generator is set to 10 kilohertz, 4 volts peak to peak. Let's turn the output on, and there we go. 4 volts peak to peak on here. And to get the stats on here, I have to press stop. And then it will give me frequency 10 kilohertz, bang on there, 10 kilohertz. And it's giving me voltage peak to peak of 3.9 volts. Go to measure. We've got, yeah, voltage peak to peak of 3.96. So let's run both of these again. Okay, so this is supposed to go up to 1 meg. I mean, we can adjust the time base out a little bit. Yeah, it's not liking that, is it? 500 kilohertz, it's starting to break up. This would be all right for like audio or pretty basic stuff, but it's not doing too well at 500 kilohertz. So, I mean, if I go up, is it going to get worse? 600. Is it measuring it though? It's not. It's not measuring it correctly at all. It's giving me 75 hertz. Let's do 800 kilohertz. Stop on here. No, it's measuring 101 hertz. It's not happy, is it? It's not displaying particularly well. 900 kilohertz. The further up you go to the top end, look, yeah, you can see the sampling. Bearing in mind we've only got one channel on, 1 meg is the maximum, so let's have a look. Yeah, really quite distorted. 1 meg on here is absolutely fine. These are both 8-bit scopes. Obviously this has got a higher bandwidth, this 60 megahertz scope, but it's an old scope. This is not coping well, and at 2 megahertz, which is outside of its specification, and it's not going to measure that. No, it's confused. So at 2 megahertz, the amplitude's dropped right off too. So, I mean, it says it's 1 meg, but I mean, even at 300k, it's doing crazy things. Interesting. Having to constantly adjust the trigger still doesn't like it, does it? Yeah. At low frequencies, it's pretty good. When you go above 200 kilohertz, it seems to struggle. And it should go up to 1 meg bandwidth, this. Yeah, I mean, it's fine at lower frequencies. As I say, anything above 200 kilohertz, it loses its stability a little bit. So one thing I did note there, going up and down the frequencies, is quite a lot of work. Sometimes you're in and out of the menus, adjusting the time base, then you're adjusting the volts per division all the time. And the thing is, all the time you're doing that, you're in there, this box is actually covering up the waveform. So when you're adjusting your time base, it's sometimes you can just about see the waveform, but it's a little bit of guesswork. And also you're in and out of the menus quite a lot. What would have been great is if they'd have just used these arrow keys. You've got these arrow keys, which are brilliant, but why not have them so you can set them up so you could do left and right to adjust your time base, and up and down, just up changes your volts per division. That would be so much easier than going in and out of the menu constantly. What it has got going for it is the full-size BNCs and 5 channels. But as you see, once you start going up into hundreds of kilohertz, the waveform doesn't look so good. It doesn't perform so well at higher frequencies, but it's great for low frequency stuff, audio work maybe. Having 5 channels, handy for troubleshooting. The other good thing with this Tooltop is they do give you some PC software you can download. So you can hook this up to your computer via the USB-C port. So let's have a go at that. Right, so when you hook the oscilloscope up to your PC, it opens as a drive. In my case, it's opened as drive G here. You can see it says OS-5C, which is the model. You've got various bits and bobs in here, system files and stuff. You've got an update.bin, which I think might be the firmware file. I'm not too sure. And you've got an Edge. You've got a Microsoft Edge link here, which says help. And that's actually the link to the website where you can download the software. It's also in the instructions, it gives you a link and a QR code as well. So you go to this website here, osc.focussz.com/tooltop, and you can download the software from there. And when you go to the website, you can see you've got various options here. There is an Android app you can download. Unfortunately, I don't have an Android device, so I can't test that one. But you can download the PC software from here. And you can also download a copy of the manual here as well as a PDF. And in the PDF of the manual, you'll see there's some of the information that we've already seen in the paper instruction manual, but there's also a few extra bits and bobs as well about connecting to the PC and how to download the software. It's got the link there as well. Again, there's also some information here about the Wi-Fi option, which we don't have on our model, but there is another model available which has Wi-Fi. So if you have that, you can check that information out there. And there's just a few extra bits and bobs there compared to the paper manual that came in the box. So let's take a look at the software. Here we go. So here's the actual software screen. So this is what you see. So all I've done is connect the oscilloscope to the PC with the USB-C connection, downloaded and opened the software. It downloads as a RAR file, so you extract it, and then when you open it up, it's called the Oscillograph App 449. So I've got it on stop at the moment, so if I hit play there, that's the run and stop, the green button there. So I've got it running. You can see I've just got the probe hooked up to the test point at the moment, just showing square wave there. And when it's running in the PC software, look, you get your parameters here, which you don't get on the actual oscilloscope itself, which is a bit of a shame, really. Maybe, again, a firmware upgrade will sort this. Now, you can use the arrows here that you've got to change your volts per division. You can see we're on 1 volt at the moment, so if I go down to 0.5 volts, there you go. You can change that, 0.2 volts. So you can see the image is not quite as smoothed as it is on the scope itself. And when you stop the waveform, you have got a little slider here, so you can move the waveform back and forth. That's quite handy. You can change your trigger settings here. You can save the file, which will save it as a OSC file, .osc. And if you go to view, you can turn your channels on and off. So we're looking at channel 1 at the moment. So if I turn channel 2 on, which is also on the test point, there we go. You can see channel 2 is there. On the view menu, you've also got your AC and DC coupling for each channel. Your data show, so you can select there which parameters you want displayed on the screen. You can switch it to XY mode. You've got a difference mode there where it will work out the difference between the two waveforms. That's quite cool. I quite like that. It does take a little bit of getting used to how to move the waveforms around. So you can do a spectrum analyzer style display as well. So you can see that's channel 1 there. We could do the same for channel 2, which is probably looking less because I think that probe is on ×10. It is. If I put that back on ×1, yeah, you can see the difference. So you can turn that on and off quite happily there. There's loads you can do with the software. The software is actually quite good. I will say that's quite useful. I quite like this. Got measurement functions on here, which is cool because look, you can bring that in if you want to measure the peak there. That's quite nice. I quite like that. Measure the top, measure the bottom. You've got a diagnostic ruler. I mean, it kind of clutters up the screen, but it's all there. I quite like that peak measuring. That's quite nice. You can change your trigger there, which channel you want it to trigger from, and you can change your trigger switch and direction, but you can do that from these little shortcuts up here anyway. It's pretty cool, and you can, again, you can display all the parameters. You go to data show, you can turn these all on. Unfortunately, it does close the menu each time. So if you wanted to add a few different things, you have to keep going back into the menu. Just a little glitch there, but other than that, I'd say, yeah, PC software, very handy, nice inclusion. Well, there you go, the Tooltop OS-5C tablet style oscilloscope. Well, it's got its ups and downs. I mean, it's a lot of oscilloscope for the price. I love the fact you've got 5 channels and they're full-size BNCs. That's an absolute winner for me. But what it is a shame with this particular model is the limited bandwidth. It will be good for audio work and bits and bobs, but as we saw, it's not quite so accurate the nearer you go to the top of its spec. So it's okay for lower frequency stuff, which might limit its appeal a little bit. The menu system, as we saw, was a little bit clunky. Maybe they'll improve that with a future firmware upgrade. Only time will tell. But if you're in the market for a tablet style oscilloscope and you really have to have full-size BNCs and you need 5 of them, well, maybe it might be worth taking a look at. We have got coupon codes for Banggood as well if you want to check out the Tooltop OS-5C tablet oscilloscope. I'll leave the links in the video description down below, and big thanks to Banggood for sending this over for me to take a look at. So I hope you've enjoyed today's video, taking a look at this little oscilloscope. As always, massive thanks to everyone for watching, sharing, liking and subscribing. And big thanks to all my YouTube and Patreon members. Don't forget, you can support me on Patreon and buy me a coffee, which helps to support the channel and keeps me making more videos. I'll be back soon with another tech related video, but in the meantime, take care and I'll see you on the next one.